morning, Richard.
Randy, how are you this morning?
I'm good. I'm good. We are quickly approaching marching band season in those first few contests. And I know you and I were talking the other day about balance. And I'll just kind of start it off here. I know that as I was listening to the drum corps this summer as a judge, I was making a pretty concerted effort to not only just focus on the balance of the brass section, um, when I was on music analysis, but the balance of everything that made sound. And when we talk about the balance of things from an effect standpoint, the balance of everything that is participating in the event, color guard, the visual aspect of things, the balance of the field. So let's delve into that a little bit this morning and talk to directors about that.
Yeah, I think, and you just sparked another thought in my mind there, Randy, by talking about not just the music part of it, but all the elements in terms of balance. Because when we're talking about balance, usually as musicians, we're talking about volumes, right? We're talking about either too much, not enough, or yeah, that's the perfect amount, right? But it's kind of the same way with the total program. Is the drill set up so that everything's nice and clear, or is it too heavy loaded on one side and not on the other, which makes it look messy or a little unorganized? So I think you bring up a great point about thinking about balance in terms of the whole. Now, I'll talk for just a second about balance in terms of the musical elements, because I know that's what you and I deal with most of the time. It's as soon as we say that, people are going to say, "Oh, here comes the electronics," stuff, and of course the electronics are part of it. But I look at electronics anymore as just another instrument voice. A few years ago, maybe it was still the newest thing, but now it's just another voice in the ensemble. And it has to be balanced, of course, just like mallets have to be balanced. If you have a drum set player, it has to be balanced. If you use guitar players, they have to be balanced. So anything that's running through a speaker versus an instrument that's not running through a speaker, that's where you have to be especially careful. And there are some times that it may not be the electronics that are too loud. You may have to ask a little bit more from your wind section, or your percussion section, because we are outside. We are outside, and you want to make sure that they're using the right air. As wind players, you want to make sure they're using the right stick height and getting the right amount of power as percussionists. And we don't tend to worry about that too much. But when you're balancing, you got to think about all those things. Don't forget about your woodwinds, and especially those of you that are going to compete. Just hearing the woodwinds as part of your show concept is so important. And it's not important just because you want to do well from a placing standpoint. It's important because you want to be teaching your woodwinds how to play better. You want to be teaching your woodwinds how to become better players, better musicians. And a lot of times that's hard to do when there's a lot of drums going on, there's a lot of brass going on around them, and electronics going on around them. So make sure that when your woodwinds are playing that we can hear them as audience members and as judges, but also that they can hear themselves. All right, so they can really get better.
Yeah, and consider proximity too. If you've got a rehearsal tower, scaffolding, ladder, whatever it is that you stand on to rehearse the ensemble, obviously you can't pick up a tower and move it, but you can try to get them in a situation where you're either standing back and not worried about the height. When you're trying to balance things, there's nothing worse than trying to balance an ensemble if you're standing right on top of them, especially when it comes to electronics. So try to get away or have a staff person or another one of your band directors get away. If it's just you, it's better to probably be field level and move further away from the group than it would be to stand over the top of them. Right, Richard?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think, you know, getting to at least a close, getting close to where judges may be if you're going to a competition. I mean, I think you have to get some kind of appreciation for what they're going to hear and what they're going to see. And some of you may be thinking right now, well, there's no place like that at my school. If you don't have a stadium that's high enough, you might want to ask a neighboring school if there's a free time that you could take your group over there and just help each other out a little bit as directors and as school partners to make sure that people get a chance to get back and get up, because that is so important.
Yep. So as you're working with your ensembles this week, think about balance. Start thinking about those things that you want audience members to hear, and start making sure that you're actually physically putting yourself in a position where you can actually listen to the ensemble and taking that initiative to do that throughout the week. Certainly appreciate you being with us this morning on Coffee Talk, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great week.